Welcome to the Escape with Nick and Adam. My name is Nick.
Is this some kind of prank or something? This better be a joke. I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is? And I'm Adam.
What was that one?
Halloween 2.
Okay.
Guy says, come on, what's going on? This better be serious. And he's like, I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. And Loomis just stands there and goes, you don't know what death is?
All right.
That'd be the weirdest thing. And then he just walked away. I'd be like, that was weird. Halloween 2, the original 1981.
Nice. So, all right. So that happened. So, we're going to talk about Black Adam. Black Adam premieres this week. Not sure when we're actually going to have our review show for that, but we still have to work that out. But with some,
I don't have to go to bed on Thursday.
I say I'm off after Wednesday, so I pretty much don't have to sleep the rest of the week. But we'll get it figured out. This will be stuff we'll worry about after the show. But so we have a lot of DCEU news popping up, which I think, and for the most part, pretty positive. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So let's see here. The Eternia place I got funded. We're gonna check in on the Engine of Vengeance at HasLab. It's not going well. She-Hulk goes after toxic fans. Hey, look at you wearing glasses.
Where did they go? Where's Adam?
This is Clark
I
Smith
just
here.
don't know.
Also, we're going to talk about, we're going to have some comic news or some of the comics that we're reading, toys that we picked up, toy reviews, and whatever else we want to talk about because it's our show. So, checking on. So, all right, Adam. First, we have something we have to do first.
Oh yeah, what?
We are having friends back.
That's right.
I say we're sitting here going with this the whole time.
Yeah, no one can. Yeah, at least no one could see us, right?
Yeah. So, so our friends, Night of the Trolls, are coming back with a friend of theirs, Austin Eckert. We're going to talk about indie comics and probably some Halloween stuff, just because they do a little bit of not a little bit. They do a horror comic.
I mean, it couldn't be any more perfect, right?
Yeah. So tis the season. So, but Adam, let's get into it. So, Black Adam premieres this week, and
yes,
there's slowly, some of the reviews are starting to trickle out, and so far nothing like too terrible, I guess, but nothing too great either.
I'm hearing it's a good picture, but there's a spoiler out there. We all know who's in it. You want to address the big giant pink elephant in the room? I mean, obviously.
Well, the big giant guy already said it. So Henry Cavill is not only in the movie, but he is, is it from Hollywood Reporter that
it is the Hollywood Reporter.
Hollywood Reporter, Warner Brothers leadership has intense desire for Henry Cavill to lead a new Superman movie. The project that would be essentially Man of Steel 2 is currently in search of writers. So they want Henry Cavill back and being Superman for the DCEU in the worst way. And I think that's nothing but good news because that's literally what fans have been clamoring for. It feels like a decade at this point, but it's only been years.
No, Man of Steel came out in June 2013.
Okay, so but
that
also
was its release date.
But then when did Justice League come out too?
Justice League, the official release of Justice League was Christmas 2017.
Right, so about 5 years. But it feels like forever. Like fans have literally been saying, like, look, and let's be honest, like Man of Steel was not universally loved by fans, but I think everybody said that Henry Cavill's a great Superman, and he wants to be Superman. Why wouldn't you let him be Superman?
Well, here's the thing. I think that this ship took a wrong turn. I'm sorry, I like the movie. I only like the director's cut, and I will say that Marvel is doing a little bit of. I'm not trying to tear one down to bring the other up, but you can see where they are today and where DC's going right now. And DC was going nowhere. They should have gone. The logical step should have been Man of Steel 2. That's just my opinion. It should have been Man of Steel 2. We should have spent more time with Superman if you wanted to introduce somebody else. What better way to right this ship than by announcing that essentially you're going to have another Superman movie. You're looking for writers. And Henry Cavill is going to be your Superman. All of that said, we got to make sure we dial back to our anticipation for Black Adam. But I'm excited for Black Adam not because Superman is in it. You could have not put him in it at all, and you could have told me that this was going to happen, that they exist in the same world, and maybe I'd have gotten. But this just tells me that not only are we going to get Black Adam, but there's a plan. There's a plan. They've got at least an outline that they're willing to stand behind.
Yeah, so from the Hollywood Reporter, DC at a turning point, James Gunn pitches secret movie. Dwayne Johnson flexes his Superman power. So basically, this one is from who's this article by? This article is by the Boris Kit. So this came out yesterday. Johnson is publicly touting his vision for a future Black Adam versus Superman movie, which I'm okay with his words stoking fans' desire to see Henry Cavill return as a red-caped hero. Matt Reeves is plotting an expansion of the Batman universe, while J.J. Abrams remains in the mix as well with his own plans. I don't like that last part I just said. And the Hollywood Reporter can exclusively report that James Gunn, the filmmaker behind Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy movie, as well as Warner Brothers' DC-based Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, is angling for his own DC project or two. So, that's good news. I like everything in that there. But one of the interesting things, though, so later in this article, Johnson, however, has Superman plans of his own and has been very vocal about his desire to make a Black Adam vs. Superman movie, a desire he has only reiterated more frequently in the lead up to Adam's release. This comes as he talks up the surprise cameo at the end of Adam, with the actor all but stating that Cavill will appear. Insiders are wondering if Johnson's comments are intended to goose the movie's opening weekend box office numbers or maneuver Superman onto his own chessboard, or perhaps both. I think that's both, and I'm perfectly okay with, the dude's pimping his movie. That's what The Rock does. That's why you brought The Rock into the DCEU. Not because he's a great actor, not because he's a great character actor, but because he puts butts in the seats in movie theaters.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not entertaining to watch. You know what I mean? I really like that one movie he was in, Rundown. I don't know if you saw that one with.
Oh yeah, love that one with.
That's a really good one. Stifler.
Yeah. But Sean William Scott.
Yeah, Sean William Scott. I apologize, Mr. Scott.
But Superman as well as Cavill were not in the initial plans for Black Adam. The idea was hatched during a round of reshoots for the movie earlier this year, but the cameo wasn't nixed by Hamada. So that's kind of what he's. Normally, these things don't come out in these articles unless someone's trying to throw someone under the bus, and clearly, The Rock's basically saying, Hamada's been trying to block us, like everything good that we're trying to do for this movie. It was Hamada and the old leadership.
I have no loyalties to Hamada at all. Walter Hamada and Kevin Tsujihara have done bad things for the DC cinematic universe. DC Comics in general.
Here we go down here. After Hamada said no, Johnson went around the executive, turning to DeLuca and Abdi, who gave it the thumbs up. A furious round of negotiating occurred before Labor Day, a deadline insisted on by Warner's, with the scene shot in mid-September. That just proves, like, man, how quick they can get this stuff turned around. It amazes me. Like, we're just doing reshoots in September. The movie's coming out we got a month to get it in the movie here, guys. So
It's pretty impressive.
it's incredibly impressive. Or it's going to look like dog shit, but we'll find out. But
no,
but either
I don't
way,
think that.
you know what? The Rock's throwing around his weight in this scenario, and I'm 100% okay with it because clearly he actually gives a crap about the DCU and it moving forward.
Yes.
Even though he's clearly got, a vested interest as to what's going on, because I think, he's somehow he's going to financially benefit from this because he's trying to angle to, you've heard the rumors where they're going to try and make Black Adam sort of the Thanos moving forward, which I think would be a mistake, but just to have him still in the DCEU, like kind of like how Marvel did, where hey, he's not necessarily in this movie, but he's in this universe, and you're going to see him moving forward.
Yeah, and he's a threat, and I hope that he is the leader of his own nation. I hope they take it that far. I truly, truly do.
Well, and that's why it's going to be very interesting to see what transpires in this movie. Do they actually, have some decent, because they're introducing some pretty deep cuts, kind of as far as DC characters go.
Yeah, man.
It's not a Batman movie. It's not a Superman movie. It's not a Wonder Woman movie. It's a Black Adam movie with Hawkman, Adam Smasher, and other characters I forget right now.
I think it's just two more. Well, I think they might be introducing. I'm going to stop because I don't want to get to the thinking. Dr. Fate.
Oh, Dr. Fate, right?
And Cyclone will be in it.
Cyclone, but also who's playing Dr. Fate? Just
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. Spot on cast.
I said it before. I'll say it again. When I found out Pierce Brosnan was going to play Dr. Fate, I said, "Oh, okay, yeah."
Like, yeah,
yeah. I want to see this.
Yeah,
And thank you again for a month ago or 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, when you sent the Dr. Fate Smallville clip, because that was my first live action. Well, I think a lot of us, our first live action exposure to Dr. Fate. Aside from having,
I didn't even know that was in the show. Honestly, I just, it's one of those things that came across. I was like, that's like, as when like that's good, like that's well done.
Dude, they have them all in the show. They have Hawkman in the show. It's kind of funny listening to Rosenbaum and Tom Welling talk about it on that other podcast that they have, Talkville.
Yep.
He says, you weren't around.
Have you listened to that?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's good. Because I know that's the thing about Inside of You. Like, it's very kind of sporadic when it comes out. Like, the clips that come out, like, that's such a good, that's a really good podcast.
Oh, gosh, yes.
The only one where I said I don't want to listen to it was, like, the last one I saw was with Will Wheaton, where I was like, I have zero interest in that show because I just don't care for Will Wheaton.
Chris Sarandon is his latest guest on Inside of You.
But
yeah,
there's so many. He has so many good actors and just real interesting people. Like he had who's the guy who played Reacher on there, and just how like
you mean the guy Reacher?
Yeah, he was in Aquaman and the Smallville.
Oh, he was Aquaman. Oh, yes, and he was one of the Ninja Turtles too, right?
Yeah, Richmond.
Yeah, Richter.
Yeah.
Alan Richter.
Yeah. So he was in there, and he went, and that's the thing. Like people go on there and they go deep emotionally. I'm just like, holy moly! Like they're, and it's one of those things where like I was watching, I was like, you're kind of coming off like kind of a prick, but at the same time, you're just being honest, so I can't be mad. So, but it was just really interesting. We're just like, oh, you're just being completely transparent, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. That show was like a lifeline to me during my sit home time in quarantine. So
yeah, I can see how. Yeah,
at least they let us go out and walk.
I just came back from doing a week. My first ever like going out of town to travel for work. Mm-hmm. I have never been so bored in my life. Mm-hmm. I could not imagine just sitting around during quarantine. Like I can I can 100% see how people just did not do well. So
Yeah.
but anyway,
I
casting
do
Black
want to
Adam.
address that. I gotta say this because I've been dying to say this. I'll say this to the whole audience. For me, as outside of the people who were, I felt for everybody, but I had it pretty decent. I didn't get sick when I was initially in that first wave where the whole thing shut down. I was out of work for like 6 weeks. I was laid off, but it wasn't until like the last 2 weeks of that 6 weeks, and I'll never forget waking up on that Monday, kind of going into that late night that Wednesday. I had texted some people at work like, any word on if we're coming back or not? Just wondering. I'm fine. Everything's good, kind of a thing. But then it just got weird. Like it was like I'm like, nobody should watch this much TV. Nobody should read this. No one should work out this much. No one should eat this much cake. No one,
Yeah.
And I was like, this is getting weird. And then they sent us back to work. So I was like, okay,
Thank God for that.
yeah.
But anyway, getting back to casting and all that for Black Adam, I'm very happy with the casting, especially Pierce Brosnan. I don't know who the actor is playing Hawkman, but I'm wondering because Hawkman's one of those really difficult characters to kind of do in not real life, but like from comic to, even on screen during, was it Legends of Tomorrow? I was like, yeah, that's such a difficult character to do. And I'm wondering how that's going to go. So,
well, think about that guy.
Because Hawkman's like one of my favorites. Like I had one of those, we were talking about page punchers. I want to call it a page puncher Hawkman, but it's not. It was actually a puncher.
You had a superpowers.
I had a superpowers Hawkman, and ever since then, like I've just always had a special place for Hawkman. So I'm very excited to see Hawkman on the big screen. So
I gotta address that for you real quick here because let's see. It's Aldias Hodge, right? I've seen this guy in a lot of other stuff. I don't know if you have, but let me see one thing if I can see if I remember him from. He's a good actor, man. He really is, and I think that this role is in very good hands with him.
It's not even the actor. It's just because you got like the CGI wings. You have the one thing I have a slight concern, and I don't even know if it's comic book accurate, but it's like the scene that they have where he's facing off with Black Adam, and he's got his his mace, and it starts spinning, and I'm like, it's already like a ball of death. Like, does it need to spin and all that? I was like, just swing the mace, swing it really hard at someone. Like, you'll be fine.
Yeah, there's not even a whole story about that metal, though. Like that makes me think: why is the mace spinning? Is it part of the technology? Because it's Ninth metal, right. And he's reincarnated, right?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, because that was one of the things actually League of Legends did pretty well. Was like, like he dies, but don't worry, he's gonna come back as whoever. But
yeah, Carter Hall instead of King Catal.
So, but very excited, and we'll see. But we are going to have our review for that probably later this week. I don't know exactly. We got to pick a day because I've got stuff going on and you've got stuff going on. But we're going to make it work because I think it officially comes out in the U.S. on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So, all right, we'll make it work. But all right, Adam. More dumbasses. I shouldn't even say that. No, they're dumbasses. I'll stick with my original statement. More dumbasses are going back after fans. And this one, shocker, it's from She-Hulk. So, from Variety, She-Hulk team explains the fourth wall breaking finale and delivering an FU to toxic Marvel trolls.
Oh, really? It was like that?
Yeah, so here's the problem. So you have people who really don't care for the show in general as it is right now. You have let's call it a failed phase 4. Marvel should be the last people on the planet telling any fans, I don't care whatever you want to label them, right, telling anybody to go bleep themselves at all. Or Disney in general. Disney doesn't need to get doesn't need any more negative press. And really, like I said, just they're probably the last people on the planet that should be telling anybody to go F themselves.
No, I mean, this is I didn't see it. Did they say go F themselves for sure? Or I mean, what was the wording? They literally said that. Did they? I mean,
okay.
I
So
agree with you
this is from
100%.
obviously this is from Variety. The article is by
Which is
Jordan Moreau and Adam B. Berry. So throughout
very
Hulk,
credible.
She-Hulk, attorney at law, Jennifer Walters, also She-Hulk, played by Tatiana Solani, repeatedly breaks the fourth wall by not only directly addressing the camera, but acknowledging that she exists in a Marvel Studios superhero TV show. In the season finale, poignantly titled, "Whose Show Is This?" Jennifer smashes out the show entirely, jumping through the Disney Plus portal to confront writers of the show about why the finale is so needlessly convoluted with extraneous, nonsensical plot lines, including one about a cabal of toxic fanboys who troll Jennifer online about being a female superhero who doesn't deserve her powers. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So
Eventually, Jennifer confronts.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, eventually Jennifer confronts the one in charge. No, not Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige, but KEVIN, or Knowledge Enhanced Visual Interconnectivity Nexus, a sentient robot armed with the most advanced entertainment algorithm in the world. Okay. As Maslany creator and head writer Jessica Gao and director and executive producer Kate Coiro, sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. Explained to Variety, Feige was in on the gag from the start and even helped to shape his AI avatar. They also talked about the satisfaction they felt in seeing real life online trolls use the same exact criticisms of She-Hulk. The show that the fictional online trolls on the show used against She-Hulk, the character. And Maslany addressed Jennifer's romance with fellow attorney Matt Murdock, which I didn't care about that either. While Gao and Coiro, I'm just saying Coiro, shed some light on the introduction of Scar, the surprise son of Jennifer's cousin Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. So let's get where they actually say that. But yeah, it's one of those things where they think they're being so damn clever about shit, and you're just like, you know what they actually end up doing? They actually end up like being bullies themselves, even though like they claim to be bullied, which that's not what people are saying. They just said they didn't like the show, and once they start picking on the show, be like, you just hate girls in power. Be like, that's not true at all. But anyway, so were you expecting to face the trolls when you signed up for the show? Reading the script, it was so true. There's so much resistance to a woman just existing in that space of superheroes. No, the F they are not. No one cares that you're a superhero and you have a vagina. No, that's not even an issue. That's not the 50s. Jesus. There's always going to be that. There's always going to be that. No, there's not. There's not even that now. They just don't like you and what you're doing. Sorry, I sort of anticipated it. It's why I feel it's so important. There's such an entitlement to space held by certain people like you, and to even exist as She-Hulk is like F you, and I love that.
Wow. Well, there goes that character.
Yeah, it's like these are the people that are supposed to be bringing this stuff to the big screen, and people wonder like why there's such pushback, because you obviously don't get it. You clearly don't understand it. But we broke the fourth wall. Be like,
yeah, but
it's not the point.
Again, I've only seen 2 or 3 episodes of She-Hulk, and I was entertained with what I saw. But John Campion made a point about the show. He goes, it's not that he thought, this was early on, way before this. He goes, it's not that the show is bad or good. You know, he says, it's that they made a comedy that's not funny.
Right. Yeah, it's the worst type of people who are loud and boisterous and saying things that are loud and boisterous, and they think they're funny, but they're just not. And you're just like,
right.
You're just being loud and obnoxious.
Yeah. it was Phase 4 roll out the B-listers anyway. Everybody wanted Phase 4 Fantastic Four. What did we get?
Not
What was the,
not Fantastic Four.
yeah, the closest thing we got was Multiverse of Madness.
Hey, Danny, thanks for joining us.
How's it going, Danny? All I can say about this is it's a bunch of bullshit. But are you surprised?
The
Are you
end.
surprised? Are you surprised? I'm not.
No, because
You know?
this is kind of the status quo. We're like, you don't like our stuff, so therefore it's your fault.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not how it works, but
imagine the shit stream, that's going on right now over at Warner Brothers. Things are still very disorganized. That's a very hot molten rock over there right now, But the good news is, and as we were talking about Black Adam and definitely comparing it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now, yeah, am I excited? I'm excited for something to kickstart the DCEU back to life. Because what happened? What happened after Zack Snyder's Justice League? So does this mean everything? Well, maybe that this Black Adam movie takes place in Joss Whedon's Justice League world, and I'm fine with it if that's the way it's got to be. Whatever. I still got my pocket little one shot. I don't care. I'm just happy that we're going forward and we're righting the ship.
Well, that's it, and that's why when Ryan Reynolds came out and announced the new Deadpool, why it got so much, everybody was so excited because there's nothing else to be excited for Marvel for. No one's excited for anything. No one's excited. No, I mean, the only reason people even care about Wakanda Forever because it should be a nice tribute to Chadwick Boseman, but no one cares about the female, female Black Panther. No one cares about Ironheart. No one cares about anything else in that movie. I don't.
Tell you the truth, I want to see that movie because I want to see Namor and I want to see a war between the Wakandans and the fish people. I can't remember what they're called. It's not
Atlanteans.
Not Atlanteans. Yeah, they changed the name. Whatever. It's not like they had to. DC Comics can't trademark Atlantis.
So I was like, no one can. It's like, why not just say he's from Atlantis? No one would care. Everybody be like, yeah, it's fine, makes sense, it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides Namor, no one cares about this. But now that they've got Henry Cavill back on board for DCU, we actually go, oh hey, got me a little bit excited.
Yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of potential. Lots of potential for good stuff.
And let's be honest, Black Adam doesn't even have to be that good. Like, it's just got to be like, get going, get the rock going, And I mean the proverbial rock, not the actual.
Right? No, I know.
Like, get the DCE moving again. That's all this movie needs to do. It's just get it going in the right direction. Doesn't have to be that great.
And to tell you the truth, man, all it has to do is be good, like you said. It's just got to be a good movie. That's all I want anyway.
Just don't suck at this point. That's kind of how low the DCU, or just I'll say it. That's how low the superhero bar is right now. Just don't suck.
It's bad. It is. It's really bad. There's not very many good. There hasn't been a good superhero movie, I don't think, except for the Batman.
Be better than what it is. Be better than She-Hulk. That's what you got to be. Right. That's the bar right now. Right.
Well,
be better than She-Hulk. That be better than what the Marvel's giving you right now. That's what
I got some PowerPoint presentations that should put us on the map.
By getting back to the whole like going after fans because they don't like it, it's like going after everybody that's on YouTube or the people who come to YouTube or to Facebook to watch someone else but not watching us. I was like, I'm not going to go after them because obviously we're still working on our thing and we'll gain our audience, but I would never think to be like, oh, you guys are the problem. We're not the problem. It's all your fault. Like, how stupid would that sound if we did that? Really stupid.
Very stupid.
but they do it constantly. I just don't understand where, like, whether it's an actress, director, even producers coming out and saying, no, we put out something good. Be like, clearly not. Like, and very rarely does, a good product not rise to the top. The only thing I can think of in the recent memory was just the James Gunn Suicide Squad. But
that was a great movie. I loved that movie.
But that gets back to what we were talking about. Was it earlier this week? What day is it? Last time we did a show. About basically the cream rising to the top. We're like, usually good products rise, and I don't know. I forget where I was going with that, but anyway,
it's kind of moving on. I'm not going to try to explain it because I can't.
Right. So
I'm getting dramatic.
All right. So let's see here. Toys. Let's talk about toys. Adam.
Oh shit.
The Eternia playset got funded.
There was never a doubt in my mind, man. Never a doubt in my mind.
Don't go back and watch the other shows where Adam's like, maybe.
I'm kidding around.
It needed 5,000 backers. Right now it's at 5,600, and it still has 22 days remaining. So it ends November 10th.
Yeah.
So whether it hits the stretch goals, so the stretch goals are pretty far out there. So the stretch goal to unlock number 1 is the Moat monster figure.
In the original playset, it was just molded into the moat.
And then unlock, and that's at 8,000 backers, and then
and then
at 10,000 backers, Kelklar, leader of the Elders figure.
That's right. All of the elders turned into pure energy and became the power of Grayskull.
So, Adam,
I don't think that's true.
What is this one at again? I forget. Oh, that's right there. It's at 550 if you want to back it. So
yeah, it's going to cost you about $700 for shipping though at the end.
Yeah, shipping, taxes, the whole shebang. Isn't there even a fee to become a Mattel's Creation member? Or is that not true?
I don't think that's true at all. No.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but either way, go ahead.
I tried to take this all the way just to see how far it could go, and as far as like what you had to do to buy it all, and I didn't see anything like that.
Well, let's see here, because it's got a membership thing right here. So Mattel Creations memberships. So it just
yeah.
Members only benefits, exclusive content, forums, blah, exclusive items. So
I'm very excited about Eternia. Will I own one day? Yes, I will. Will I be able to back this within 22 days? Not sure, but that will come home with me one day. That's a guarantee.
But you might have to move and get another apartment or house, because you're going to need a whole room for this thing with dimensions of 3 foot by 4 foot for an epic display.
I'll just move the love seat to the storage area. No, I'm just kidding.
I just will have a couch.
Yeah, the thing's damn gorgeous, man. It's huge, and and they showed a picture of Masterverse style figures, Masterverse scale. They work just fine. So yeah, this is crazy. Of course, the originals are just the 5.5 inch, but man, that thing is nuts. I got to play with one in real life when I was a kid. I never knew it even existed, but it was at my buddy Dallas's house, and it was like, yeah, this is Eternia. I was like, I don't remember this from the cartoon because it was never in the cartoon. Right. I don't think.
Not that I remember, because that's when everybody's like, the Eternia playset. I'm like, what? The who?
Well, it was to come out at the end of the line. Well, it was to be the next big playset in the line. Only so many were made because the line just came to a very big abrupt halt. Do you know what made this line die, though, originally? More kids and parents were complaining to the toy stores, we need more He-Man toys. So they complained back. So what did Mattel do? They kept releasing waves. They literally meant we need more toys of He-Man.
Right.
Like the action figure itself, the vanilla He-Mans, because, there were kids still being born.
Weird. Who knew that would be the same argument I would use when Kevin Smith put out his cartoon?
What's that?
I need more He-Man in the He-Man show.
He-Man. Like a He-Man show? Oh, that was the best.
So this is a close-up of what is that? The moat creature. That thing looks cool.
Yeah, it does. They made it into an action figure. How about that, right?
Got a. Once we hit the 8,000 backers, we will unlock the moat creature. The figure was originally a decal, but now he has 7 points of articulation, including a snapping jaw to protect his moat and his castle. That's fun. I wonder if hopefully they'll make that like where you can buy that separately. So if you want more than one moat creature,
it would be cool.
And then at the 10,000 backers, we will unlock the final tier and add the limited edition figure of. Say that again.
Kelklar.
Kelklar.
Or Keklar.
Keklar, leader of the elders. This imposing figure has 16 points of articulation and is ready to help bring order to Eternia. Honestly, I don't remember this guy, but he looks badass.
If we saw him anywhere, he would have. Well, I can't fully say that I haven't watched all of my He-Man and the Masters of the Universe DVDs yet, but most of them I have. It would definitely be in the Mike Young 2000X series if they did, because they encompass all of Motu with this. I mean, they're even doing the new Adventures of He-Man where He-Man goes into space. So I can't say enough like how excited I am about this thing, man. It's just now I'm not excited though about these tiers. I'm just not.
Well, and these tiers are big tiers because I mean you're talking going from 5,000 to 8,000 and 8,000 to 10,000. The last toy that went over 10,000, I believe, was the Cobra Hiss, but that thing broke crazy records. But also like for your price point, I think you're getting far more just as far as an entire playset, but still, man, it's just I've said it before. You're talking about that's a lot of this isn't shelf real estate. This is I don't know real estate. Like you need literally a section of a room to build this around.
Well, right. I mean, I just tell him. I mean, this is who I am. Accept it, lady, or go. I'm just kidding. Lady, or go.
Fuck it, ladies.
No, but there's always room for stuff like this, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta make it. I'm kidding. God, look at the flags, man.
Yeah, the flag. Like, so let's go back through this game because
the arms snatch up the bad guys.
So once again, 4 foot
go to the battle scene.
Which one? Is that up or
down? The battle scene up.
Oh, this was the display at was that San Diego Comic-Con?
Yep. I got a Wind Raider attached to it. I had 2 Wind Raiders. Oh wow. The Snake Men, dude. The Snake Men are their own thing.
What's that?
Do you remember the Snake Men?
Vaguely.
King Hiss, Cobra Khan, Tongue Lasher.
But like, you got the cool drawbridge. Snakehead moves.
That thing's great.
The arms.
The arms gobble up the bad guys. Yeah, kind of gobbles them up. This thing is awesome, but you know that Netflix show, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
The monorail.
I love the monorail. I've never even owned a monorail toy. But they released a Castle Grayskull for that. That thing is a cool toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right. So this one's on its way. It's already fully funded, but it's on its way to the next tier. We'll see how far it goes. But let's go see one that's not doing quite as well, Adam. So going back over to check on
dead already.
It's kind of dead already. The Marvel Legends HasLab Engine of Vengeance. This one has a target of 9,000 backers, and Adam, I could have swore when I checked earlier it was like at 5,200 something like that. Now it's back down to 5,071 backers. So I think it's actually had people back out. And the number one issue with this one is rates. Here, it's simply priced too high for what we're getting. So.
Well, if they'd have made it like had like a talking feature, like with a multiple head, and then you put the skull head on, and then it said, "My car's on fire," you know,
tastes like burning.
because this is a dumb idea. How are you gonna kill a Ghost Rider figure without a motorcycle or a horse? Anyone can drive a car.
Yeah, see, I think if they'd have added in the motorcycle, like this would be a no-brainer, like the car and the motorcycle with a Reyes and a Johnny Blaze, but like just Robbie Reyes by himself. And I just don't think it's that popular of he's that pop. I could be 100% dead wrong, but I just know when everybody talks about Johnny Blaze, and everyone's like, yeah, Robbie Reyes.
If I would, and I am going to make an announcement about my Marvel Legends collection here in a minute, but if I was deep cutting into Marvel Legends, would I want this? Yes, I would. Would I want it for $350? No, I wouldn't.
It's at least $100 to $150 overpriced.
Now, look, if the campaign's done and over with, it's a year and a half later. Shame on me. Somebody's selling it for $350 or $400, and that's the only way I can get it. And I'm dumb enough to buy it that way. Fine, but no, I mean, not after, especially after you've seen all the toy people like Shardimus Prime. You know, he really put the nail in the coffin for well, I wouldn't have backed it anyway, but just because I'm not a Marvel Legends collector, I want everybody out there. I want you to get what you want when it comes to this stuff, because I just don't want we all want our dreams to come true.
I say I want all the Robbie Reyes fans to go get it and hopefully get one, but I don't know that many.
Yeah, I don't know that many, and I
just be smart,
but I don't. But I think let's just say if there are like a great group of Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider fans, I don't think they're backing it because they don't want to pay $350 for a car. It's got some at least it lights up. We found that out. But unless you have that in a certain position, it's just I don't know. It's just not. And I have look, dude. I got Batmobiles up the ass and all that kind of stuff around here. I got like 3 or 4 of them. They're not easy things to display.
No,
they always end up looking awkward on a shelf.
Yep. Even as cool as you try and make them, be like, they still don't look as cool as they should.
They don't. They just don't. They're big. They're bigger than the shelf. I mean,
one of my dream things to have is like the animated series Batmobile, but the thing's literally this freaking long.
Exactly.
It's freaking a monster.
Yeah.
Like at least the 66 Batman I got on my shelf, it's not that big. The animated one's like that freaking big. It's like, holy geez.
So yeah, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you got to be careful. I mean, $350 for this, and then you just get $200 more and you get Eternia.
Yeah, it's not even
it's not even close.
No, not at all.
So, and I think Eternia is a fair enough price.
Well, that's because we, once again going back to the Cobra Hiss, because the Cobra Hiss was $350 to $350 also, right?
It was.
Yeah, so that one had way more bells and whistles, and the G.I. Joe line is just they're doing great things with that line.
You know what else the Cobra Hiss had? Want to know what else the Cobra Hiss? You want to know? Besides that, this is something that this fucking thing will never have, and it's the same thing that Eternia has that this car will never have. It has grown-ups who were little kids that got to play with the original, or who were never privileged, didn't have the privilege of owning an original, and so as adults they get to have their childhood come back, a little piece of that come back to them and updated.
And that's a fantastic point, because let's say you do have a Robbie Reyes fan. He's probably a teenager at the oldest. And there's no way when we on our best day as teenagers, we were never going to spend $350 on a toy. Never.
If I had that kind of money to spend $350 on a toy and I did it and it was like a darkness car, I'd be pissed I owned it today.
Right. Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, unless unless you were in on the crypto game early, but
Right.
I don't know. I think that's a great point because, obviously the Eternia, the Hiss, they all got the nostalgia factors for all the people who do have the disposable income to go, oh yeah, I can totally make that happen. And like I said, ooh, toy, member berries, but
yeah.
I just don't see it. So, but I do have good news.
Mm-hmm.
I found some really good toys while I was down in Cincinnati this week.
Oh,
really
right.
good.
He did.
Really good price. So before, I don't remember, should look up what version of, anybody remember our friend Mr. Badrock?
Badrock.
From
Youngblood.
So this is one of the OG Image titles that came out. Here's missiles. They fire. Yeah, get you some of that. Probably lost those forever. That was $8 down the drain. But $8 loose. Found that guy. So this store, it's called the Toy Department. It's down in Cincinnati. It's not actually like Cincinnati. I think it's like Fairfield. So this was totally on my list of toys that I needed for my turtle line. Adam, do you know how much this is at Target right now? At my Target, I can go get this at my Target right now.
$60.
$55. So close with tax. You know what I paid for at the store? $30.
Absolutely.
And the great thing is, I can go to my wife and it's nice because I can go to my wife and be like, yeah, I know, like I spent $30 on these silly toys, but guess what? I still saved $25. And that's the way you make it work, guys. Pro tip when you're getting stuff, tell them you got a deal.
Yeah.
Tell them how much money you save first. So this is the Rat King and Vernon 2-pack. And I just remember, it's one of those things, like, how good of a character Vernon was, because you know why, Adam? I hated him in the cartoon. I hated Vernon.
Yeah.
That's how you know he's a well-written character. So
right.
I hated this guy and his stupid pink shirt.
You know what though? I never owned a Vernon. I don't think they made him, but there was always some other action figure that stood in as Vernon.
Right. And you always needed one because you needed someone to beat up. But
yeah. Oh no, you're getting beat up.
And that's the funny thing about the movies. Like, they actually included Vernon into the movies. I was like, well done, guys.
Okay, these guys are trying. I like those movies. I do.
I still have not seen the first, and we're talking about the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie. I still haven't seen the first one, but I really like the second one. Going in with zero expectations, and I just saw it recently, so it's not like I saw it in a theater or anything, but I liked it. I got, I'm not going to say zero complaints, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I heard a very funny story about Michael Bay. And if you know about how you can picture how over the top his stuff is. So he said, Kevin Smith tells a story about how Ben Affleck called him up and said, Michael wants me to be in this movie about Pearl Harbor. And he goes, oh, yeah? He goes, yeah, it's Michael, so knowing him, we probably win.
Thanks, Ben Affleck.
He goes, yeah, it's Michael, so knowing him, we probably win.
So, but one of the things, I always saw them in Target, but they were a little bit overpriced for me. But I still thought they're fantastic figures.
Good for you.
And these are the original superheroes from NECA. I got the Phantom. And so once again, fantastic price. $10. Typically $30 at Target or brand new. And especially for like finding them secondhand, like they're still in the box and they're still like, I was shocked to find them. And also from the original superheroes, Flash Gordon. So just look how, I'm not even like the biggest Flash Gordon guy, but like I just like good toys. Look how good that is.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, you could just picture being a little kid knowing what you know exactly what to do with that.
Yeah. Well, also like, let's be honest. The only reason I know who the Phantom is because when we went and saw the Phantom
Billy
movie,
Zane.
it was one of the first kind of like sort of comic book, even though it's more like comic strip adaptations. Where I was like, I don't care who you are, that was a good fun movie. Like that was a
Yep.
fun adventure movie, and I've always loved the Phantom ever since then. Thank you, Billy Zane.
Yep. Thank you. I like Billy Zane. I thought he was a good actor.
It's one of I don't know. It's one of those. I think it's one of those things where like behind the scenes there's some issue, but I was like, why isn't Billy Zane in everything? I love Billy.
Billy Zane would have made a good Lex Luthor.
He still can. He's still like he's not. He's I would say actually he's probably like the perfect age for it.
Yeah. Yeah. This Flashpoint, Batman Flashpoint movie, we gotta do something about Lex Luthor here. We gotta man this guy up.
Sorry, I'm getting the missiles that I fired before I lose them.
Yeah, that's good. We're getting them.
Knock Grifter's head off.
Oh,
The Grifter that I just bought to go on the motorcycle. So
are you going to do the mask up?
do what?
You should do that mask the same way you did the other mask. Folks, you gotta
Already
see this one.
done.
Oh wow, that's badass.
You can't see, but
Oh, I see it. I think like you, I should give you my perfectly clean grifter head. You can give me that, and you know.
that's the. It's incredibly easy to do because it's simply just like dry brushing a little bit,
Right.
but it adds such a nice effect to it. And here's the problem with this figure. So obviously his head's off, and when he sits like that, like it looks like kind of like a well proportioned head. When you actually push the peg down, he kind of gets like this look, and I don't like. I'm actually going to leave it off.
Can't say I blame you.
Well, that's one of the reasons for my other grifter.
My grifter's fighting Bane.
Oh, there's.
Well, he's actually shooting him.
But I'll grab the bike that.
Yes, wait till you folks see the bike. I got a picture of this today. Oh yeah.
So I blacked it out, and I used my chrome marker there to kind of chrome this out a little bit. And I'm gonna try. My wife's got some iridescent like nail polish. I'm gonna try and make it like how metal actually gets that kind of that. Was it stainless steel? Stainless steel gets that kind of burn.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
how it gets used. So, yep. This is like I just started it last night, so it's gonna be
Did you
black
paint
now.
on the tire too?
Yeah. So
Did you
this
work on the
is
tire a little bit?
yeah. So this one I actually did black out a little bit on the tire, and then you can see none on this side, so you can actually see the difference because I think a tire should be black.
Yeah.
But yep. So this is a whip here, so work in progress.
Tell you the truth,
Because
though.
and this is why I love this bike because from the original
God, I love that bike.
Wildstorm comic books, like this is always like the type of motorcycle he actually kind of rode.
Yeah.
In the comic book. I think it's actually called like a Tomahawk that he actually rode. Because there was actually at the auto show there was a version of it because it was actually a 4-wheel motorcycle, but the wheels were right next to each other. Really cool motorcycle. Let's see if I can get a picture of it. But that's so when I saw that I was like, that's Grifter's motorcycle.
Indeed. Grifter is one of those characters. I don't think he and Batman get along.
Well, and that's part of the problem. Golly, that thing looks freaking cool. So I mean, side by side, they don't really look alike, but you can kind of show. So there you go. That's the Tomahawk
Holy
motorcycle.
wow.
Yeah, and that was kind of I think that's kind of what they used.
That thing's smoking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, but I think it's like obviously it's incredibly dangerous. But I remember they had this at the auto show a while ago, and I think this is like, I think this thing's been around literally since like the 90s.
Dude,
That's when I saw it.
That's RoboCop's motorcycle from not the movie, but from the toy line. And then like every Bat cycle after that was the same thing.
But yeah,
wow.
It's pretty fantastic.
Sure wish I was brave. Those things look fun.
Yeah, I am not. I'm not a motorcycle person at all.
I'm not qualified. There you go.
Yeah, no.
See?
Oh, easy. I'm trying to find a picture from the comic books with Drift around his motorcycle because they had that. Well, hold on, they had the toy for it.
Who's gonna save the world? You? I could.
Okay, but this is a problem now. The thing looks like a freaking scooter, so never mind. It's not as cool. This motorcycle, the White Knight one, is much cooler. So we'll just leave it at that. But anyway, yep. So that was my toy haul. I was very happy. I said it's always nice to find things that like you actually want at a decent price. I know that sounds like obvious, but it's like you don't expect them to, especially in a secondhand store. Like that's like the last place you expect to get a deal on something that you really want or really need.
Dude, I can't imagine that you even found it.
Well, dude, they had a ton, and like I said, I think I told you I was like I had to walk away because they had so much Ninja Turtle NECA stuff, but loose, and they had it like in the display where I had to go get someone, and then like when you go get someone, then you feel obligated to actually buy something, and I'm like, I don't want to go down that road because it was the day after payday, and I'm like, better not do that because they had some good stuff. They had some really good loose figures. They had like a Bebop NECA loose, and like I was just like, ugh. But that's the thing. So toy department in Cincinnati, just outside of Cincinnati. Great place, very cool guys, great prices. Just yeah, that was a very pleasant surprise because I went down there to train a driver, and the driver's like, "Hey man, I collect toys, and they have this toy store down there." I was like, "Hello." I was like, "Okay." So he's like, and it's literally like 5 minutes down the road. I was like, okay, well, we'll have to wait till Friday for that. But yes, we will be. We'll stop by for a few.
That's awesome, and the place is great, guys. Nick sent me pictures. I mean, it just looked like you walked. I mean, just looked like there was so much you could stay there all day to figure out your next move, and then not get a next move because you went broke.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing too. Like, I have not been in a secondhand toy store where there was like that place was packed. Like there was people like bringing stuff off and like bringing stuff in to trade or sell and everything. I was like, holy moly! Like I've never been in a we have some great toy stores around here. Sergeant Red's. I've been in there. Usually, there's a few people. I haven't been in there where it's like where it's a little overwhelming with how many people are in there. But I was like, holy crap! Like there's a ton of people in here. Just like, and just everybody looking at different things. And I was one of those things where between reputation and actually having stuff people are looking for, man, that place is great. So if you are in the Cincinnati area, go check that place out. It's fantastic. Toy department. So, all right, Adam, is there anything? Let's do some comics real quick, and then we'll get to your toy reviews. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So, with the spooky season upon us, I got some pretty good.
Oh,
So
is that the new Night of the Chihuahua?
no, it is not.
Oh,
It is not. But
what is it?
this is Scott Snyder's and Francovilla's Knights of the Ghoul. So this is part of Scott Snyder's stuff that he's doing on. A lot of it's on Comixology. So this one's pretty interesting. It's a number one. It's a very long book, but it's about a guy who's going to visit someone on hospice care, and he's kind of a filmmaker who found this mythical best horror movie that's ever been made that no one's seen. And so he's going to introduce this, or going to interview this guy in hospice, and he's on his last days, and he's like, you didn't see the movie, did you? He's like, a little bit. And so basically it's a story about this ghoul that has basically been the cause of everything bad that's happened in civilization.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where they would use all these different things, like the plagues and all this, but ultimately it's always the ghoul that's behind it. So that's good. It's long. That's a long comic book, but it's good stuff. So very intriguing for an issue number 1. Speaking of intriguing, we have DC Horror Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. This one is the one that was written by Bruce Campbell. So, and that's the same Bruce Campbell from Army of Darkness and the Evil Dead movies. So,
I thought you were talking about the soup guy. I could care less about the dude from Army of Darkness.
So, Bruce Campbell, just a legend of a human. So, Sergeant Rock, this one's a lot of fun. Go read it. This one, I was actually very pleasantly surprised, but this is Jeff Johns' Junkyard Joe, and this is a Vietnam story, 1972. Basically about a robot that gets attached to this platoon in Vietnam, and they don't know he's a robot until he basically gets blown up and it's all his fake skin blown off, and it's really good. It's really well done. I have a special spot in my heart for Vietnam comics because my dad was a Vietnam veteran, and I get very touchy about the Vietnam thing because, let's be honest, like the whole Vietnam veteran didn't get a ton of respect, so I get a little sensitive about that, especially if people are like, "Oh, back in Nam," and making fun of flashbacks and all that stuff. I get kind of sensitive about that, but it's handled very well. And Adam, it's got a I like small details that no one cares about in comic books or stories. They have the introduce when they all find out he's a robot. No one likes him because they're like, oh, he's a robot. Like, what's he gonna do? And then they kind of start accepting him. And they have one of the characters from Detroit, and he says, two brothers, oldest one is fighting north and the youngest is fighting south, which figures, given I'm in the middle, going to open a restaurant when we get back stateside. Three Brothers Coney. You ever make it to Detroit, you come on by. So just the fact that he called it like a Coney, that's the thing. Like, especially traveling, I was like, it's kind of one of those cool things that Jeff Johns did. But
he's from Clarkston, Michigan. So
is he? So that makes sense. So.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
But that's I like that. That was a fun book. I'm definitely going to check out issue number 2. So
awesome.
Yeah, I like
awesome, and I love Jeff Johns as a writer. I really do. I love Doomsday Clock. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. It's a great book.
Yeah. So
could have been longer, and it would have been just fine.
Yeah, I know Jeff Johns gets a little bit of a bad rap on certain things, but I don't know.
Well, like the art, don't have to love all the life choices, you
Right.
know. So
Whatever. But yeah, Junkyard Joe, it's just one of those things when you, especially when you go into a comic book store and you're like, I'm gonna take a bit of a chance, and you're pleasantly surprised. Like that was a pretty good book. So
amen to that.
all right.
So is Junkyard Joe like going to be a continuation, or is there a?
That's what I'm guessing, and I'm wondering how they're going to continue it on, because it's kind of interesting how it wraps up because no one knows anything about Junkyard Joe, but you kind of have a last panel here with a Nixon and a Henry Kissinger saying, "Oh, well, we better get him back." So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think it's next whatever happened to Junkyard Joe.
No kidding.
But yeah, pretty good. And yeah, plus it just got solid art. Like that's good stuff. So hold on, let me.
That looks like old time comic art.
Yeah.
Who's the artist?
Oh, let's see. Here we got Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, and Brad
Oh,
Anderson. So
enough said. Gary Frank, slam dunk. Gary Frank was not the mainstream or whatever you would call Gen 13 artist, but I love it.
Oh yeah. Now that well, that was the thing. Was he? Because he wasn't just after J. Scott Campbell, was he? But he was.
Yeah.
Was it? Well, see,
he took over issue 26.
Yeah, so that's part of the problem when you take over for a legend and you're not J. Scott Campbell. I'm just like, what is this crap? And then after a while, I'd be like, it's good, it's fine. It's just not J. Scott Campbell.
It's too bad we didn't tape record any of the conversations that we had back then because we were both on the fence. We're like, this is good art. Does it belong in this book?
Right.
You know what I mean? Actually, one of my screensavers at work is Gary Frank Gen 13 art. I put it up every Christmas on my thing, on my screensaver. But awesome Superman artist. Every time he drew Superman, that was Christopher Reeve's face.
Right. So, but so this is going back to the Night of the Ghoul. So this is kind of the art for that, where it's not the same level, but it really works, especially for like horror story stuff. So,
yeah, man, I gotta check that one out.
It's good. It's different. We'll see, like how it goes, because that's the hardest thing is saying like, oh, it's good or bad based off one issue. But it works for this story, for the story that they're telling. So that's why there was a period where like I was doing video reviews for individual comics. Were like, but it's so hard to say like whether a whole storyline's good or bad based off just one issue. I'd rather be like, oh, let's let the run conclude before we call it good or bad. So
yeah. I would say doing like 3 at a time maybe would get you there.
Yeah. So, but that's all I've got. So, Adam, I think we're ready to go to your reviews. So,
all right. Well, we got 2, so we'll do the. Generally, we wouldn't do 2. However, it's only going to be October 2022, one time, right?
Right.
And so it would be a little out of place to do this one like late. So this is the 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe. So we're going to get right into Shira, Princess of Power, the Masterverse version. Let me share my screen with you. I understand. Let's proceed. Let me get rid of that so we don't click, share, and whoa! Here we go. And as we can see here, we've got the fine box art here. It is a Masterverse box. What kind of is weird, though, is they call this a deluxe figure, and the only thing that really I can figure would be deluxe about it is this extra cape because it already has 2 heads. Now I know a lot of people are thinking, why did Shira get a mask at her headpiece up here? Are they trying to capitalize on some Thor Ragnarok? And the answer is no, and I will tell you the truth as we move along.
I thought they just gave her sweet sunglasses.
I really think that figure looks cool. In fact, I'll show you how I've displayed it too. So moving forward here she is in front of this turned out a little more off focus than I wanted it to, but in front of Castle Grayskull with this sword of, she doesn't wield the sword of power, she wields the sword of protection. So with the sword of protection, it actually morphs, which is why I don't have her here holding the shield at the same time, because Shira's famous thing was sword to shield. And again, it would turn into this here shield. And she could also turn her sword into a lasso. She'd probably turn her sword into a damn boat if she wanted to. So there we go. This is the another face forward shot of her in front of Grayskull's Jawbridge. There she is with her brother, the 40th anniversary He-Man himself. So this is just looking at this is like, man. My toys matured. They grew up with me. They stepped off the page. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. Got a little Orko over here.
See, that's okay. Now you said that, that's part of my problem with the Super 7 line, where I love Thundercats, but like I don't want just replicas of the stuff that I had. I was like, if you could do just a little bit more, do a little bit more for the Thundercats line. That's one of the reasons I don't collect it. Is for those, because I was just like, especially for how much they're asking, and especially once you get to the secondary market for those figures, it's like, oh geez. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Thundercats, where I love the Thundercats, but I can't justify that price for the basically just figures from the 80s.
No, I understand. Like they're replica. Yeah, it's. This is something, obviously this is the updated action figure Buck right here,
Right. Yeah, with the thigh swivel and everything.
Yeah, thigh swivel, bicep swivel. She's also got the bicep swivel too. I mean, taking a look at her here, just to even get her in this held aloft my magic sword and said, for the honor of Grayskull, just to get in that pose. I mean, imagine how unarticulated that was as kids. You know what I'm saying? Especially even with He-Man. So moving forward, though, here we go. Moving forward, what's going on here? Did we mess the bed? I don't think so. All right, here we go. Okay, there was a reason I went back to this. So moving forward, this is the original Princess of Power Shira action figure. So she wasn't. They were still scared to market an action figure to little girls. The reason this character was even made is because they found out that a giant percentage of Masters of the Universe action figure fans and cartoon fans were girls. And all of a sudden they were wondering why Barbie sales were dipping. It's because little girls were also asking for He-Man figures. And so their answer to this was Shira. But instead of giving her plastic hair, they gave her doll hair so she could still be counted as a doll for girls. If you look at the headpiece, the original design was to have her eyes covered up by this mask. This was before the Filmation movies ever came out. So that's why when we get to here, this head is an homage to this headpiece. The reason the headpiece is upside down is because when they did test play test audiences, kind of a thing, where all the little girls flipped it this way. Nobody used it as a mask. It was just this was just kind of her looking through this window, and that's how they sold it. That's how they marketed it, and that's why she was packaged the way she is, and that's why we have this head here. So, those of you, that brings into effect Mythic Legions. Mythic Legions could be called a knockoff of Masters of the Universe. It's an on-purpose one, though. The sculptors of the Mythic Legions toys are these guys called the Four Horsemen, and they sculpted the Masters of the Universe Classics figures, which Nick, you are familiar with those, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Mythic Legions was a way to kind of carry on, get these other figures out. They kind of did their own thing. So it's kind of like a Motu tribute. So when Masterverse first came out, I never thought we'd get far to get a Shira. So I ended up picking up one of these. And this is why.
But also going back to the Mythic Legions things, it was always cool because no matter what you collected as a kid, you always mixed play sets. Like there's always times where like you wish you had a toy where like I wish there were more things to fight as a kid.
Yes, where you could exactly. That's what's cool about these Mythic Legions, and I agree. I see the same thing. They're very expensive action figures, but they're still, Four Horsemen know what they're doing. I mean, this is a beautiful knockoff Shira if you think about it.
Right.
And this alternate head fits well on this body, and so I'm able to display them both. Side by side. This is a power sword from the Masters of the Universe Origins line. And there you go. And there they are partying with Evil Lynn. And that is
hey guys.
Yeah, how you doing? She's like, I have got a new outfit, girls. And basically
this
is
I put on too much makeup because it doesn't match my.
This is the younger version of Dorothy from the Golden Girls right here. And this, of course, is Rose. And we got Blanche because she's wearing the kink mask.
Because we all know Blanche is a whore.
That's right. Yeah, poor Runa Clanahan. She ended up really losing a lot of money with the Bernie Madoff stuff, and had to work. I mean, as an actress, and she was a very good sport about it. But so that is your Shira, Princess of Power, Masters of the Universe, Masterverse toy, which I am very happy with and very glad to have it as part of my collection. And hits you by the feels.
Oh, yeah.
So you're ready to get like really spooky? You're ready to get like murderous here? You're ready to get slashered?
Because nothing gets you all murdery like Halloween Ends. Right?
This is not Halloween Ends. This is Halloween 2.
I know, but it makes you angry, kind of like Halloween Ends. It's all fired up.
I watched Halloween 2 over the weekend. Thank God I did. I did it because I wanted to be familiar while I did this action figure review because I was excited about it. It was a birthday present for my sister. I was excited to go see this movie, and the movie sucked. We all know. I've gone on record talking about that.
And it's fair because my wife did the, hey, is it okay if I watch this without you? Because I was still out of town. And I'm like, you have fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah, you told me a story about something I didn't even let alone ask for. Anyway, what a piece of crap. But you know what, man? Halloween 2, watching the original Halloween 2, 1981's Halloween 2, that was the redemption I needed for the weekend. It really was. Really was. What just happened to you?
I trying to get my dog's attention, and then I leaned over and I forgot I have headphones on, so I
it looked like somebody tried to turn you off.
It was something like
to turn you off. So NECA did a 2-pack Halloween 2 2-pack. The original Halloween 2. And it takes place the same night. So, are we ready? Here it comes. This is a crazy NECA toy. I'm telling you this right now. This is a crazy NECA toy.
Okay, so let's pause for 1 second. So, one of the things I love about McFarlane toys is the paint's not fantastic. Like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Like, for my grifter here, like, this is not the tone of his jacket. Like, it's like I kind of textured it out a little bit. That's a nice thing about McFarlane toys. You can do that. I don't want to touch anything on a NECA figure because I think the quality's just, there's nothing I could add to it. And that's how I feel about the turtle toys that I've got. think that's mainly what I've got. But like, yeah, I just see the NECA toys. I was like, no, just set up, display, and move on with your life. Like, there's nothing that you could add to it that would do too much to it.
Well, I agree 110%. There's nothing to, I got away with one alteration to one of these figures, and you'll see why. But it's not a big. It's exactly what Nick is saying. No, you don't have to alter these. Here we go. Ready, guys?
Ready.
So here we are.
Oh,
Halloween 2. This is the box art. And I had to
yeah.
break it into kind of two halves here. So, of course, you got Halloween Michael Myers here with the scalpel. His eyes are bleeding, and that's because Loomis shoots him in both of his eyes in the movie. And, of course, you've got Laurie crawling across the hospital screaming for help as Michael Myers is coming around the other side here. This is the movie poster. Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. This is a scene right out of the movie. You go to the movie, you go to the video store, your family's looking to get a movie, you're peeking through the horror section. This is what kids don't get these days. They just do not get this kind of art. And NECA, man, they went all out on the box art for this. This is the back of the box. And I did orange this up a little bit with the lighting, but I didn't alter the colors, so I just kind of gave it a little darker tone. But this is action figure photography here. These are action figures in the picture of the back of the box art. Here is the box art. This is the back of the box. Next to a pumpkin here carved by my good buddy Rich. And we can see we got Halloween 2. It is just absolutely insane the detail they put into this. And this fire here, don't worry. Look, you can see the two arms coming out of it. We're going to get to that too. So here they are, Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis. We got two rifles here, one for Loomis, and if there was a Laurie Strode, Laurie starts shooting it. Laurie is the one that shoots him in the eyes, not Dr. Loomis. Laurie shoots him in both eyes, and Dr. Loomis was out of bullets.
Look at the detail on the pumpkin.
Right, because the pumpkin in the beginning of the movie opens up and it breaks down to a skull, whereas in the first movie it just melted. So let's just take this in. Look at the detail here. Look at this coat. And Nick, I've been dying to show you this coat. I really have been. But first, we're going to get to these weapons. Here's the butcher knife that he takes from the old lady's home. Here's the hammer he uses to kill this, I believe, the security guard. This is the syringe he stabs into the eyeball of the nurse. And this is the scalpel he runs around poking people with. He does stab Loomis with this scalpel.
Yeah, and I know you're talking about Michael's hands, but like I love the art, like the hand with the lighter right here, like little details like that, because there's sometimes like toys do that. They're trying to make it look like a toy, like most toys wouldn't do like a lighter like that, but you can just tell like that's properly articulated. Nothing looks out of place for that, and that's like, oh, that's a normal human function doing. That looks like a normal human, function. Because what I'm saying? Sometimes when they do stuff like that, it's like it looks so awkward. It looks, just the dimensions are off, or even the articulation's off on something like that. Because even like the hands like on the figure, sometimes like they don't always look like they're molded the way the toy gun is, where these are clearly like, oh, a hand actually would look like this instead of like the thumb being shot over there. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but
I know exactly what you're saying. No, I know exactly. Like especially on the older stuff, it would mold together. You wouldn't get like such a 3D. Look at the gap between the thumb and the lighter,
right.
And then here's the
But
flintlock.
yeah,
all of that.
Yeah, even the little flame on there, it's just like holy moly! Like the attention that the detail that they pull out of these. And you work in plastic. I've worked in plastics. It's so hard to get that level of detail in plastics and things like this. So.
Oh God, I can't imagine what it's like in that shop. Better not be in this country where they have like workers. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just saying, I don't think they're made in America.
yeah, because if they are and you mess up, like there's a lot of people going missing, like
Right.
they're like, don't you mess up our stuff. We'll kill you all.
I mean,
Getting to this, check out this coat, Nick.
Oh, nice.
So you pull off the 2 sleeved arms here, and then you got these 2 arms available to put on to complete the ensemble. This was the only custom I made, was this hand. Okay, otherwise I would have to be switching hands around, and I'd have one Loomis arm without a hand. So being an action figure collector, I got bags full of hands. I found one that matched. I popped it on in. That's the only alteration made to this figure on my behalf. We go to the next page here. We can kind of see the background. Oh, and this background came with it too. So I braced it with stronger cardboard. Yep. And then I've got these plastic kind of glued to it. So this will always I'm going to kind of preserve this so I can always use it as the display. And then there you go. There's your lighter. Better look at your lighter. Close-up look at Loomis. I mean, he's got blush on his cheeks. He's got color in his cheeks, man.
Yeah, I was watching
crow's feet.
Yeah, I was watching a video earlier about I forget which studio it was from, but it was like one of those busts, probably like 1 to 3 scale, where it was a decent sized bust. It wasn't 1 to 1,
Right.
but they were just going through the technique how they did to pull off some of the textures and all that, because for the actual statues, like the textures they get from it, just the way skin actually looks, it's obviously not just one color, just the breakup of skins, the way the capillaries are and all that good stuff. And it was really fascinating. But the amount of detail, that's why I said I do not mess with my NECA figures, because they come with such a level of detail, and like I said, a little bit of blush, and they're not just like pink lips. It's a proper like lip tone.
Yeah, it's a lip tone right here, and look, it blends into the. Yeah, this is crazy. Well, we move into here. Here we go. Now we got Michael Myers, 1981, reminiscent of the 1978 Michael Myers. Technically, both movies take place on the same night. You can see Michael's entering the room, and Loomis is ready for him. And Loomis is ready to shoot. Now, see, I don't have a Laurie figure, so here in my head.
Yeah, once again, sorry. So, but just the way, like, getting back to the way the hands are, the way that gun actually fits in the hand, like, you can tell, like, oh, it's molded properly for even how he grips, the pistol. It's just like that's just great craftsmanship from NECA.
Right. It's like they had
these are just little details that, like, I know no one else really, most people probably don't care about it. It's like, but to get that level of detail where it still looks like fingers, they just don't look like 2, like, just bits of, sort of finger looking. But no, these, you can clearly see 3 distinct fingers with the trigger finger, and the thumb wraps around properly.
Look at
that's the stuff I love.
Look at this sleeve adjustment right here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where you can, you change you can't do it, but it's there. Look at the pockets in his jumpsuit.
Yeah, the jumpsuit. The dress shirt on the wrist there. You see that?
It's crazy.
That's why I collect these, because they're just so damn good. And when it comes to price, and that's kind of the thing with like McFarlane's price, that where, not to say they're good enough, but like that's why I like McFarlane's, because it's almost like, hey, like,
you got a $20 to $30 action figure,
and if you want to do something more, you totally can.
Exactly.
But I just think if you went, like, there's a few things you could probably do, like weather up his trench coat a little bit here and there, but overall, it's just I wouldn't mess with these like at all.
It's got stitching. You know what I mean? The stitching is there. It's crazy. So then he lights him up. Because we all know Laurie's in the background opening up all the oxygen and gas and ether tanks and filling the room so that the whole place blows up and they both die. But somehow they both end up in number 4. Now this is great. Now I kind of wanted to show a progression, but I didn't get enough of the leg shot. But there's a piece for his face that connects into the freaking eye sockets, dude.
Nice.
This connects into the eye sockets. I couldn't figure out if this goes. It doesn't snap on. It just perfectly falls into this mold. It
Right.
just slips right on once you got it, and then of course the thighs down here, which you guys can see. I don't know if you can see it, but this is crazy, and it looks great.
Well, and getting back to like, remember like when our toys as kids came with accessories, and like
Yes.
85% of the time they never fit or never worked right.
Yeah. Well, they didn't make sense.
Well, it was like, oh, here's a gun, but you could never get the gun to stay in the guy's hand, or like to have him hold it like it looked like he's holding it like this,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's why I was so excited to see toys like, wow, they just look so good. Like, and once again, there's a better shot of the hand here with the with the lighter and all that. It just looks natural. That just looks how it should look. It looks like
This is, I mean, crazy good. We got a little more box art here, so to show off. Oops. Oh no, I fucked it all up. I gave away all the surprises. All right, there we go. So some more of the box art. This is just happens when you open it up, so you can kind of see, Michael with the regular mask, Michael with bloody mask, without the coat Loomis, with the coat Loomis. Boy, watching this movie, he makes a U.S. Marshal. He holds him up at gunpoint, makes him drive him back to Haddonfield. The guy's like, "All right, I guess I got nothing to lose. Only my job." And so I'm watching this, right? And they get into this place. He's like, "I need to know that I can trust you." And he's like, "Don't worry, you can." And he walks off, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, that's a Marshal." I'd be like, you just pull a gun on me." I mean, that would happen in reality, right? So there's the back of the box again, the last little corner panel. What can we say about this action figure? This 2-pack, other than thank you, Shawnette, for buying it for me for my birthday.
I got my Ninja Turtle mummy
Woo-hoo!
box right here, and like it's like a movie poster. It's fantastic. And once again, that's the front. And then this is the Leo as the Hunchback. So I mean, it's just fantastic.
Does it bug you? Does it kill you right now that you don't have the other one, that they haven't released, Mike or whoever, Donnie?
No, because that, and I'm happy I'm not like a psychopath completionist, because like it could bug me, but it doesn't, because I even passed on the April. I saw the April at a couple places. I was like,
well, I understand passing on the April, but the fourth turtle is, what I mean? Like, I'm going crazy for my piece of Starro.
Yeah, the only thing that's driving me crazy, because I don't think it's supposed to come out to like April or something. Like, I know it's supposed to be a while till next year. Where it's kind of
you gotta pretend it's not even real.
Yeah, exactly. But that being said, I'm just, the one thing that it was supposed to be out earlier this year, because I reserved it so far in advance, that I'm just like absolutely drooling over, is the last Ronin figures, though. Those are the ones where I'm like, please just tell me when. Stop just like next month. No, next month. I was like, please, God, just like give me a date when that thing's coming out, because those are the ones where I'm just like, those are the ones where I'm like, that's like, just tell me, please. So.
Put the plastic in my hand. Put the plastic in my hands.
Because I've even seen like people, they've got the Playmates, because they have a last Ronin Playmates version, which, hey, cool. It ain't freaking NECA. That's like,
it's not the same. I can't have it.
It ain't the same. Well, and that's like, I saw one guy, and like I said, not blast anyone, but he had his last Ronin Playmates one, and so now because you're starting to read the last Ronin figures, where he gets Mikey just gets his ass handed to him like constantly through these books. So they had the last Ronin figure, and they were just like slapping like red paint on them, for battle damage or whatever. I was like, ugh. Like never in 1,000 years will I just like slap red paint on a figure. Be like, look, it's blood. Be like, no, that's not good enough, at least for me.
No, I'm with you. I want quality.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather texture it out a little bit, but you do you. You guys do you. I'm gonna do me. It's fine. So speaking of Last Ronin, how are you enjoying Last Ronin so far?
I'm still only done with book 1 and 2, but I love it. It's brilliant, man. I'm actually.
It's brutal though, right?
Yeah, it really is. It's brutal. It's bloody. I'm finding out that they were ambushed. Just it's top notch writing from A to Z.
Well, and that was like this was kind of the first love the Turtles cartoon, love the movies. Third one's okay. But this is my first experience reading, a Ninja Turtle comic book, and it just like what have I been missing out on? But also, it's like this is kind of the the apex of turtle writing, in my opinion. So.
It's time now. It's time for the Turtles to be back. It's time for the Turtles to be on the next level.
Yeah, so I'm excited because they've got they're expanding the Last Ronin stuff later this year. We'll see how that goes. Whether, like I said,
that can be spooky.
Yeah, those five Last Ronin books are a masterpiece. To me, it's just like, hey man, don't mess it up. Please don't mess this up. Right. But also, it's like I love that world so much. Like, yeah, okay, let's go back into it. So, all right. Is there anything else that we need to talk about?
We've got guests coming up this week. That's about it as far as the show goes. But we got guests coming up this week. We've got Halloween coming up. We're gonna be talking about that. All kinds of spookiness. We wanted to talk about a Who Makes It list this year for remaining action figures of 2022. I don't think we should really just cross that bridge unless you're ready to cross it off the top of your head.
No, but we'll let people know what we're talking about. So we are not rich by any means, but so we always try and throw in like, if you're on a budget, if most your average shows whose collectors are on a budget, what is your budget list that makes the list? And Adam brought up, had this idea, and I think it's fantastic. So we're gonna get into that. So if you're on a budget like we are, and you got some figures that are out on the market or coming up very soon, before the end of the year, what makes are we saying top 5 or top 10 that makes the budget list that like you gotta have? So
I'll go with top 10, but it doesn't mean that you have to get them all. It just means that
we'll rank it.
Basically, for me, I'll come up with a top 10. I'll go to the store. I'll see an action figure. If it's not on that top 10 list and I need it, I will not pick it up. Unless it's on clearance or something like that. Not until 2023. This is just for the remainder of 2022, and I can think of 3 off the top of my head, but we can save that.
We'll save that for next time.
I'll save that for next time.
Yeah, so, but Adam was alluding to, we have our guest coming up on Thursday. We have our friends from Night of the Chihuahua coming back on, and our new friend, Austin Acker, coming on. He's an artist, and I believe he also has a comic that we're going to talk about. But we're going to talk about indie comics and just what it takes, how hard it is in today's day and age, today's market, comic book market, how hard it is to try and bring something like that to life. So that'll be stuff we'll be getting into. And other than that, anything else, Adam? Last words?
I'm going to sell my Marvel Legends collection.
Wowza. The whole thing?
To be continued. No, I'm hanging on to Spider-Man. I'm hanging on to... and I'm not even fully conceded to this yet. I'm not sure, but I think so. I think it's time.
All right. So, well, if you want to follow what we're talking about or talking about during the week or what we're going to be talking about on the show, you go check us out on Facebook and Instagram. If you have not subscribed yet to the channel, please think about subscribing. If we have earned your subscription, thank you much. Thank you so much for following us. But if we haven't, let us know what we could do to help earn your subscription. If you are a fan of podcasts, we are on all the major platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and Google Podcasts. Other than that, just want to thank everybody for watching today and have a good day.
Love you, Planet Houston. Thank you.
Good night, America.